Pierce Brosnan lived most of his life under the illusion of perfection, the face of James Bond, the accent, the quiet power. But the woman beside him, Keely Shaye Smith, carried a burden the cameras never captured. For decades, Keely was reduced to gossip, cruel headlines, and jokes that ignored her true identity: an award-winning journalist, filmmaker, and environmental activist. Hollywood saw her only as Pierce's wife, a target for judgment. While Pierce aged gracefully and the world applauded him, Keely's body was dissected publicly. Post-pregnancy changes, thyroid issues, and the natural passage of time became a spectacle. Yet she spoke little, telling Vogue in 2006 she would never apologize for her curves, a quiet act of defiance. Pierce never joined the chorus of shame. He publicly celebrated her beauty, her body, and her being, even when mocked for it. Love did not stop the cruelty, it only exposed it further. Long before Keely, Pierce knew loss. Abandoned by his parents as a baby, raised by grandparents, he learned independence as survival. Fame brought pressure, not safety. When he married Cassandra Harris, he thought he had found stability. They built a life together, had a son, and he adopted her children. Then came ovarian cancer. Years of surgeries and treatment followed, yet Cassandra's life was claimed by the disease. Pierce endured his private grief quietly, even as his career soared. The world saw confidence. Behind the smile was heartbreak that never left him. At home, Pierce was learning how to parent through loss, how to show up when exhaustion became permanent, and how to carry grief that never fully healed. This was the man Keely Shaye Smith would meet, not a blank slate, but someone shaped by trauma, responsibility, and love that had endured unimaginable loss. Loving Pierce meant loving a man who had buried a wife, protected 3 children, and learned the fragility of happiness. Their marriage wasn't built on fantasy, it was built on survival, maturity, and the careful carrying of love forward. Keely didn't enter to compete with a memory, she entered to help him live again. They met quietly, on a beach in Mexico during a routine interview. Pierce was grieving. Keely was accomplished, confident, and fully her own person. What drew her was not the legend, but the man beneath it, a gentle, resilient soul shaped by loss. Their relationship grew slowly, around children, schedules, and trust. Keely embraced Pierce's children as her own, and together they built a life before formalizing their marriage. Dylan and Paris were born, and only then did the ceremony mark their commitment. Grounded, not glamorous. Even as she raised children and supported a man still carrying grief, the world reduced her to her body. Inside the marriage, however, Pierce never demanded transformation. He loved her as an equal, a partner whose strength filled the spaces his grief had hollowed. The tragedy wasn't that the world misunderstood Keely, it was that it never tried to see her at all, turning silence into cruelty. Over the years, the story around Keely Shaye Smith hardened into something cruel. Her work, her achievements, her life vanished behind headlines about her body. Being beside Pierce Brosnan was treated as provocation, as if love demanded public approval. Every appearance sparked the same commentary, stripped of empathy. Keely refused to perform outrage. She didn't defend herself, explain her body, or justify changes from pregnancy, hormones, or aging. Her silence was interpreted not as dignity, but as permission. The double standard was stark. Pierce aged, and the world celebrated him. Gray hair romanticized, wrinkles framed as wisdom. Keely's body, by contrast, was treated as a problem. People questioned why Pierce stayed, implied deception, suggested surgery. Few recognized the woman raising children, supporting a grieving husband, and building a life of purpose beyond Hollywood's gaze. Through it all, Pierce remained unwavering. He repeatedly called his wife beautiful, celebrated her curves, refused to soften his words. Each declaration was simple, yet treated as defiance. But love does not cancel cruelty. It only reveals how pointless it was. Keely was not asking to be understood. She was asking to be left alone. Her confidence was quiet, earned over years of restraint. The real tragedy wasn't the comments, they existed, but that they persisted for decades, unchecked and normal. Then everything changed. Not because Keely spoke, but because her body did. When she appeared visibly slimmer, the reaction was immediate. Admiration replaced mockery, headlines softened, the tone shifted as if cruelty had never existed. She didn't announce a transformation. She didn't credit a routine or a diet. She simply showed up, composed and confident, unchanged in spirit. And that silence revealed something uncomfortable about the world's hypocrisy. The applause was never about her health or happiness. It was relief. Relief that Keely's body finally aligned with what the public deemed acceptable. Years earlier, she had already drawn her line. She never hid her curves, never apologized for them, never dressed to disappear. That truth didn't change when her body did. What changed was Pierce Brosnan, well into his 70s, never altered his message. He spoke of love in a way Hollywood rarely allows, of growing old together, of watching each other change, of valuing the love in the heart above all else. Those words were always true. Yet when Keely was heavier, the world demanded explanation. When she appeared slimmer, the world demanded celebration. No one asked what she had endured, or whether the cruelty itself had left scars. Praise, speculation, and conditional kindness replaced blunt mockery, but her priorities remained: environmental advocacy, family, and purpose, unchanged by approval or headlines. The irony was devastating. The woman who never sought validation now received it too late, for the wrong reasons. Weight loss did not define Keely. Grief did. Years later, fate struck again when Pierce lost his daughter Charlotte to ovarian cancer, the same disease that took his first wife. Once more, the cycle of loss returned with merciless precision. Through it all, Keely stayed. She carried burdens the cameras could never measure. She became the steady presence holding their family together when grief threatened to undo it. The world never questioned whether she was strong enough, only whether she looked right. By the time headlines applauded Keely, the marriage had already endured decades of public humiliation, private tragedy, and emotional endurance. Their bond was tested not by beauty, but by death, responsibility, and time. Pierce's words make sense only in context. Growing old together is a spiritual journey, not because bodies remain intact, but because love does. Keely didn't win because she lost weight. She won because she never let the world define her value. Pierce didn't stay because she changed. He stayed because she never needed to. So, when you look at this story now, what do you see? A transformation, or a reminder of how quickly we judge? If you enjoy classic Hollywood stories, timeless glamour, and legendary stars, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Share your favorite old Hollywood icon in the comments, or tell us who you'd love to see featured next. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new deep dive into Hollywood's golden age.